The last stop on the NHRA Tour east of the Mississippi River took place this weekend as NHRA hit the World Wide Technology Raceway, formerly known as Gateway International Raceway. An incredible event to cap off the halfway point of the countdown as we close ever more closer to the In-N-Out World Finals at the Pomona drag strip. Looking straight into the highlights from today's event in Pro Stock Motorcycle. Like I keep saying every week so far, sky is blue. Gaige Herrera, number one, runs to the field. Just absolutely monstrous performance from Gaige Herrera. But obviously, the number one story coming through the weekend is not going to be the incredible performance of the Vance & Hines rider. It is going to be out of the Matt Smith Racing Camp. If you did not see or have seen any of the news that have been posted, including by myself and various other journalists, including Matt Smith Racing themselves, during Q2 on Saturday, Angie Smith went out to do her run in Q2. As she crossed the quarter-mile mark into the shutdown area, she had an issue on her bike and became separated from it. In other words, she fell off the bike. Unknown how that happened. We don't know anything. I don't have a replay of it. Even then, I'm not going to show it. But regardless, she fell off the bike and had what it can only be thought of right now as a pretty violent tumble down the shutdown area. She was awake and alert with the NHRA Safety Safari. She was taken to the hospital for further evaluation, and then we got news later that night that she has broken both her feet, and then it was also pretty severe burn marks on her arms. It was later revealed today by Matt Smith during the pre-race intros for the driver intros for the event that she actually had burn marks on her right arm all the way to the muscle. So right now she's going to be having skin grafts. Matt hopes to be able to get her checked out at the hospital by today, have her transported back to North Carolina so that way the healing process can begin. It is unknown right now really the situation for Angie Smith, but what can only be really thought of, season more than likely over, and hopefully we can see her back on the bike in time for Gainesville, but she has a long road to recovery to heal back to try and get back on that bike. But if we know Angie Smith and we know how the Matt Smith Racing Camp is, I am very, very certain that we will see Angie Smith back on that pink Denso bike before the end of 2024. Looking through the highlights, like I said, Gaige Herrera, an incredible performance. Round number one against Joey Gladstone, a 6.780, loses to a 7.01 because of the fact there are 14 bikes. Gives Gaige a bye run straight into the semifinals to face off against Chase Van Sant, who had an incredible win over Hector Arana Jr. 6.716 defeats Chase's 6.800 to face off against his teammate Eddie Krawick. Eddie Krawick, round number one, face off against Ryan Ayler. Ryan fouls out. Round number two against Gianna Evaristo. Gianna fouls out. The lead into a Matt Smith versus Eddie Krawick semifinal matchup, which used to be probably the final back in about 2015 or 16, now sees Matt Smith lose to Eddie Krawick. Eddie Krawick at 7:47, giving it an all Vance & Hines final. Gaige Herrera wins another NHRA national event as he looks to extend his points lead as they head into the final few races heading into the World Finals. Looking into Pro Stock, it was probably the craziest of them all. I'll be straight honest in saying that. I had my bracket picks for that. As soon as round one started, it was pretty much over. Biggest upset of them all, I'm not really going to call it an upset, but the storyline would have to be Kyle Koretsky. Kyle Koretsky unable to get the car started. Derek Kramer, who struggled to get into the show, gets in through the final qualifying session, goes into round number one, finds himself moving on to 6.562. Kyle Koretsky not able to make the call, sees him advance into round number two to face off against Greg Anderson. The winner back from Charlotte, looking to try and rebound to kickstart his championship campaign. Currently fourth in the points, entering into St. Louis. Defeats Derek Kramer to give himself a semifinal matchup against Erica Enders. Number two in the point, trying to chase down Matt Harford. Had to take down Matt Harford early on in the event. Needed that to happen in order to keep the championship hopes alive. Was able to get that. A round one loss to Chris McGahey sees Matt Harford leave St. Louis early, giving Erica Enders what she needed to try and have a points boost to try and fight for the championship. Semifinal matchup against Greg Anderson. The storyline, just storybook rivalry between the two. Erica Enders spins the tires, Greg Anderson drives around it. Greg Anderson moves on to the final round to face off against another elite motorsports driver, that being Aaron Stanfield. One of his first, I think this is his first final appearance of the season so far. Has not had the season that he wants. Continues to struggle. A 6.567 loses to Greg's 5.52. Greg Anderson picks up his second Wally, his first back-to-back Wally since the 2019 Western Swing when he won Denver and Sonoma. Looking into the field ranks, funny car. Bob Tasker III and their number one qualifier in a must-win scenario almost, and really to keep that championship hope fighting. He is able to lose some rounds, but if he really wants to bring the fight to the top 4, he needs to keep himself in there. Enter 25 points behind Robert Height. Enter number one qualifier against Jack White, defeats him. A really big round 2 matchup against the points leader Robert Height, defeats him. A 4 flat, gets him on a whole shot of 3.977. Sees Bob Tasker III give himself a semifinal matchup. And again, if you want to have to compete for the championship, you got to go against the big dogs every single week. Beats one big dog, moves on against Matt Hagan, number 5 qualifier, loses to him, smokes the tires in the left lane. We see Matt Hagan get his first final berth of the countdown. Who does he face? Another heavyweight in the funny car category, Ron Capps, who struggled since the countdown began. Not what he wanted, qualified 7th, goes into round number 1. Faces off against Tim Wilkerson, defeats him. Goes up against Alex Laughlin, who had an upset win against Chad Green, defeats him. Goes into the semifinal against Blake Alexander, who is looking to have a very much similar storyline to what we saw back at the Norwalk Nationals. Blake Alexander clock strikes midnight, loses. Ron Capps versus Matt Hagan, which what I believe is probably going to end up being the championship fight unless Bob Tasker can start to answer the call, because those two have been going at each other's throat all season. They've been the 2 best cars to beat outside of Bob Tasker III. And if Bob Tasker is unable to answer the call, I really do think Matt Hagan and Ron Capps are going to be the 2 fighting for this championship come Pomona. And once again, in the final round, those 2 meet up against each other. Matt Hagan scores his first NHRA national event win of the countdown, boosting his championship points battle. I've yet to really see the points yet. They're waiting to upload it. Once we do get it, and if it happens before the highlight reel is done, then I will try to slide it in. Moving into top fuel, I picked Doug Coletta to win this race. If you asked me at the beginning of the season, a lot of people put a lot of hype into him. I didn't see it. And then, again, I said this back at Charlotte, the best thing to happen to Doug Coletta was when he had that tire failure, because ever since he put out that backup car, he has been unstoppable. Round number 1 against Lex June. Lex June blows it up, causes a massive cleanup, completely changes the lanes for the rest of the day. Doug Coletta wins round number 1 against Leah Pruitt. Big win for Leah Pruitt. She defeats Doug Coletta 3.803 to 4.833. Sees Leah Pruitt move on to the swing finals against Steve Torrance, defeats him to move to the finals. And then who else does he face? Clay Millican, who has had such an up and down season. It's either a first round loss or he has one of the drives of his life. And again, another final round berth. Going all the way back to round number 1, has to face off against Austin Prock, a 761 to a 623. Sees Clay Millican move on to round number 2 against who other than Mike Salinas, the guy who's had his number since the start of the season. Defeats him. Goes into the semifinals against the Sarge, Tony Schumacher. 2 people who've had a really good weekend so far. Sadly enough for Tony Schumacher, it had to end for him there. Clay Millican. And what he says is his hometown race, because of the fact that Drummond, Tennessee is a lot closer to St. Louis, Missouri than it is to Bristol, Tennessee. So he considers this his home race. Also, Clay had the opportunity to be the only driver to sweep Illinois because of the fact that he got his first win of the season back at the return for the Route 66 Nationals back at Chicago. Now finds himself winning the Midwest Nationals. Not in a position really to win a championship, but can make some serious noise and cause a lot of headaches for the championship contenders. And what a way to do it than by winning the Midwest Nationals and what he believes is his hometown race. So again, bit of a messy video. Sorry about that. We do have highlight videos to show you, and then we can wrap it up as we prepare for the Fall Nationals.
It is a win for Vance and Hines. It's a win for Mission Foods. Just going to be dependent on whose workspace the Wally's going to be hanging out at the shop in Indianapolis.
Yeah, and really to some degree, their teammates, it could lighten the pressure, allowing these drivers to really perform better.
And Gaige gets 100th off the starting line. And that is typically all he needs, and that is all he needed. At the finish line, it's 6:72.8 at 201 miles an hour. And this season of abject dominance continues for Gaige Herrera. That is 8 wins in 9 final rounds.
Well, for the 8th time this season in 12 Pro Stock motorcycle races, Gaige Herrera gets to raise the Wally. Gaige, you get to race your teammate. He didn't put any holes in your bike, and you know what? That points lead is just growing and growing. How do you take this all in, knowing that this is your first real season chasing for a championship?
It's a lot to take in. I mean, not only that, to have all Vance Signs, Mr. Suzuki final. I keep holding Ed back from getting that 50th win, but to have us both in the final, this is awesome, and it showcases all the hard work back at the shop. So this is very good momentum for us continuing in the countdown, and I can't wait to keep it going. Woo!
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Greg Anderson, 7,000's better. Burnout, he says, I don't need no stinking burnout. As he gets to the finish line, stripe it's Anderson again. That's win 103 in his 175th career final round. It's his second win in as many weeks, and this guy is climbing the points like a ladder.
Well, Greg Anderson's about to lift that Wally for the 103rd time in his illustrious career. Greg, you said you need to step up. You had the car, but there's some anxious moments there. It looks like you had some trouble with the burnout.
Yeah, I had some trouble. I screwed it up, Bruno. I'm off the burnout, and I thought, you know what? Forget it. Just forget it. This car is good enough. It's going to go across that starting line just fine, and it did. It was just fine, and we got us another Wally. It's been a hell of a 2 weeks, Bruno. So thank you to everybody. Thank you to this great, great race team. I told you we're out racing everybody right now. Might not be outrunning them, but we're out racing them. So Hendrick guys, thank you so much. Summit, Chevrolet, Race Star Wheels, everybody that helps us, thank you so much. We are back in this fight. It's going to be a hell of a run.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Hagan is 29 on the tray, and the American Rebel car is done at 399.1, 324.59 miles an hour. Ron Capps runs 402.5 at 306. We've been talking about Matt's intensity in his interviews, and this guy was loaded for bear on the starting line.
Well, Matt Hagan has been beating his chest down here and anything and everyone in sight. I think he even saw somebody headbutt someone. Matt, it's been a tough countdown for you so far. You lost some really close races. Today, you brought a different intensity. You were 29 on the tree. Dickie Venables did his job on his end. What was different about today? How you handled it differently?
Well, I just think we're just being more aggressive now. Me and Dickie had a long talk, and we got on the same page. And he's like, I need you to have a good light, and I need you to be aggressive. And we're working hand in hand. And we would have loved to double up with Leah today and get 2 TSR wins. But I know Tony's been up in the booth. I'm gonna kick his ass because I always like to fist bump him down here. And he's just good juju. But Andy Ross is in the house. American Rebel, they've been picking up some races. Get this win, his trophies for them. For Andy, we got a lot of stuff going on next year. But man, God, we're back in this thing. That's what I'm talking about, baby. We can do this. I know what we're capable of. We just got to get it done. Tough competitors over there. All nothing but respect for Ron Capps, Guido Antonelli, and that entire team over there. They make everybody dig deep.
They leave with exactly the same reaction times, and at the final, it's Millican. 375.8 outruns a 377.5, and Clay Millican has picked up his 3rd race victory in a year that has been as up and down as a Geiger counter.
So Clay Millican gets a hold of Wally for the 3rd time this season. Clay, in the semifinals afterwards, I asked you, how fast could it go if the belt stayed on? Well, now we know the answer, 375. Did you know you got the stripe? It was close down there.
I knew it was close. I could hear Leah, and I know that car's run good all day, but all I know is give me a hot racetrack, and Jimmo, look out, because the Comp Cams Part Plus Pilks is just freaking unbelievable. But I got to say this real quick. I know I got to cut it shorter. One of my bestest, longest friends, JC Metters, is here today. My sisters are here. What a huge day for everybody on this Rick Ware team. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This was huge. Huge!
So we're trying to look for the points. Sadly, as of right now, there are no updates on the point standings. If there are, you can check Briarstar on Twitter, or you can check my Twitter as well. I will try to post them by the time that they're out. Drag Race Central does not have them out, neither does the NHRA, so obviously they're still trying to tally that, as right now, actually, because of the fact that there was a wreck in the Pro Mod or I believe round 2, because there was a wreck there, it caused a massive delay. So right now they were actually still running the NHRA Midwest Nationals, completing the sportsman category, so they are not done yet. So the moment I do get it, I will try to post them or give you an update of some kind. Be sure to follow me all social media pages, Mighty Mac 3 on Instagram, on Twitter, Facebook, Threads, TikTok, all of it. I'll be on there posting as much as I can, giving you guys as many updates as I can. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. Be sure to like this video. Be sure to comment and be sure to share it, because again, this countdown is getting very interesting. I cannot state enough how exciting this has been. If you would have told me that it was going to end up like this, where we had Doug Clutter running away with the championship, Bob Tasker III being in the thick of it, competing against the big 3 of the funny car class, Matt Hartford versus Erica Enders, and Greg Anderson trying to sneak his way in, and then of course Matt Smith having a shot to defeat Gaige Herrera. This has been an incredible countdown. We have 3 races left to decide who is going to become an NHRA Camping World Drag Racing Series champion, and it's going to be exciting all the way down to the wire. So again, follow me on social media pages, subscribe to the channel, do all that fun stuff, get the word about drag racing, drag your friends to a drag strip. I'm going to try my best. We are planning on going out to Texas for the Fall Nationals. This weekend, we're going to be out at Indianapolis Motor Speedway at the big track for the Indianapolis 8-hour. We have a whole lot of coverage to give you guys for the next few weeks. We're going to try and give you as much content as we can to try and wrap up this season before we close off the 2023 racing season. So thank you guys so much for watching. And until Indianapolis, this has been Mighty Mac, and I will see you next time.